um, be able like the weight comes off and the muscles, grow and and I do this with ease. And I wake up every day and um, the wrinkles are relaxed and it's okay. And it also, when you write something down and you make a commitment, you're like, I believe in myself. I believe this is going to happen. You actually do increase the dopamine and you calm cortisol. So anybody who's a member knows that that's what we want to do. We want to strive for balance. So we're starting there. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it is actually true. Okay, so this is a, I didn't realize that when it was going to show up, it's had a big screen. That was a fibroid that I had that was 16 centimeters. And actually, there's lots of fibroids in here. There were many, many, many. That's my uterus with like I called it the demon baby. It was so big. So a lot of stuff as we age, and it can start as early as 35. The amount it's Statistics are really difficult on this. I used to be a journalist and I literally cannot find more than like five sources that speak to the exact number of women over 40 that have fibroids, but it ranges from anywhere between 70% and 85%. And Black women have a higher propensity for whatever reason. Some studies say that it's up to 85% of Black women over 40 have fibroids. This is a big deal. So that will obviously, if you have a fibroid that size, you're going to gain weight because not only is it in there and the tumor, it's a tumor, but it's a benign tumor, it's in your body, so that's going to be heavy, but also it causes inflammation around it. And anybody who is a member can, obviously book a call, or and non-members can book a call with Maddie as well and talk more about like why that happens and why inflammation is really the root of many, many bad things. So sometimes when women are aging rapidly, you do have to rule out, is it something like perimenopause or menopause? Or is it something like fibroids? Or is it and all of these can be related or not, but like hormonal imbalances. Or it could be a chronic illness or an autoimmune issue. And we've had members who have something like Lyme, and once that starts getting cleared up, suddenly start looking better. And it's like, if you have parasites, they are literally eating from you. So that's going to eat away from your vibrancy. So first, we want to rule out anything like that. So when I was in my early 40s, I had fibroids and I was gaining weight. And I also didn't look great. So I can send some pictures later, but it's like I had bags under my eyes that were pretty bad and I was losing hair and my nails were brittle. And no matter what I did, I had not only huge, heavy wrinkles, like more wrinkles than I do 10 years later, but also dry skin. And just, it was awful because I had fibroids. And once I went through the two surgeries to remove them, I started looking better almost right away, like even while recovering. So it's crazy. So rule it out. Any lab testing, of course, will tell you whether or not, and of course, Rev Health does that. And also, you can get, or in addition to, you can get like an ultrasound. My insurance like just didn't pay for anything. Like way back, and I didn't have insurance. But all these things that happened, sometimes it has to be out of pocket because doctors sometimes don't do this, but a lot will, especially if you say, I think it might be this. Can we rule it out? And please feel free to interrupt me at any time, you guys. Okay, so committing to you. So back to that prefrontal cortex is ruling anything out aside. If you are waking up and feeling like, and it doesn't, people can be looking and feeling older than they are, even as a teenager, right? But it's like, what is happening? Do this. Take a notebook, get a journal. There's the Health Meditation Journal. It's on Amazon and it's really great and it's cute. I think I've got actually copies here. But, short-term rewards when you're thinking about anything like what is aging, sugar is really aging. Not sleeping is really aging. Having 3 glasses of champagne at an event is very aging. Stress is aging. So what happens when we start actually we get into this cycle, especially during the holiday season. So commit to doing good for yourself all the time. If you say to yourself, like, I want to look and I want to look and feel awesome into my 40s, 50s, and beyond, it starts with really, really believing it and writing it down every day. And that doesn't mean like I actually do drink alcohol, but I really try to limit it. And I also know that the next day I'm going to look and feel like I had alcohol. So staying consistent with those choices, like if you want to go ahead and do something, just understand what's going to happen. It does really, really matter. So your habits and then healthy eating. We're going to get into that in a second, but committing to you, yay. And then self-value. So, the amount of times that I've been called vain when I was in my 20s, and especially when I was in college, I wore SPF 50 every single day. And I mean, as my mom knows more than anybody, I was like a little bit gothic and I wear like all black and I refused to go out in the sun. But it really actually helped me. That helped me. But the biggest thing that helped me is that I believed that I wanted to like be vibrant and look and feel vibrant forever, like starting in my 20s. Like I actually really believed that. So write down on a journal or a piece of paper, or even every single morning on your phone, like in the notes app, just be like, I am awesome. Mine actually says, I am flawed, but awesome. I am flawed by every day I wake up and I'm like, I am flawed, but yet I am also awesome. It sounds really obnoxious, but if you believe that, you believe you can do anything. And so, as Maddie knows too, it's like sometimes life is hard. But if you like tell that narrative every day that it's super hard and there's no way out of it, then there's no way out of it. So if you tell yourself, well, I'm 40 and you're supposed to look this way, or I gained 10 pounds, so who cares? Or, everyone's going to make fun of me if I'm like, with a hat and SPF and the, the sun. And I do go in the sun too, but I do SPF every day. We'll talk about that. Um, I know I keep repeating it, but it's so true. All these people who are like, "Oh, you can look and feel great after you're 40 without any Botox or fillers and also be miserable." Like that's not possible. You're gonna age. And the other thing is consistency of just try to go to sleep at the same time every night, try to wake up at the same time every night. I actually honor the fact that I am a night owl. And so Maddie knows this. I do not schedule meetings before 10 o'clock in the morning because that's going to inevitably, I will not get enough sleep. So that consistency, keeping you young. And I am available for all sorts of questions. You can interrupt me at any time. And since I can't multitask, you'll have to yell at me because I can't see the notes. But again, the self-commitment. But another thing that's really cool about it is shown to lower cortisol. I don't know, Maddie, you can't really speak up on this, I know because you're thing, but like like heavy cortisol levels. It's interesting, like, Function Health, they do a DHEA marker and cortisol mark. That's how they're like testing biological age. We do it through telomere testing and DNA methylation, but there's always a correlation between somebody with super high cortisol and like rapid aging. And then just basically dysfunction in the body. The other thing is, with super high cortisol, it's harder to lose the weight. So you've got this like, not only are you going to be more stressed, but then you don't lose the weight, and then that probably makes you more stressed. All sorts of terrible things. I see chats. Oh, yeah, Maddie, absolutely true. Yay. Okay, so moving for metabolism. Everybody wanted to know about this one. So it's interesting. So I will do a little aside here. So I'm recertifying through National Academy of Sports Medicine, the NASM, for personal training. And I don't even know, my old fitness director at the YMCA was like, why? Why are you choosing that one? It's like the hardest one, but that is why. Because when you commit to something, I'm like, of course I'm going to pass, of course, because I wrote it down and I'm committed to it. But movement is so incredibly important. A couple of the things that I didn't put on here that I'll talk about is after every meal I do walk. It is very European actually, but it doesn't matter if it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. As Maddie knows, I used to fast until like 1 p.m. and that was not good. and I would be running around all over the place. But I move every time after dinner. So having a dog is nice for that because you have to sort of naturally go out and let them out. But even even when I let him out and come back, I now go for a half-hour walk by myself and I take myself around the block after dinner, especially. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but on my LinkedIn, I had asked ChatGPT for uh, some even like, of course, like prompting for, can you help me with this webinar? And I said, can you give me some ideas for women over 40 with exercise? And it said, women over 40 should just do yoga and stretching and take it easy. And I was like, oh no. And then just because I was like, how about men over 40? And it was like, you should lift and push and pull and squat. So women should do that too. And in fact, it's even more important because as we get older, and it actually in age defined by exercise metabolism and is like 25. So you're starting to age really at like 22, 23, but 25 is when you're having a harder time building muscle. So the last thing you should do is avoid building muscle. I'm not like super into weightlifting. Me and kettlebells aren't really super friends, especially after I had essentially a C-section with the fibroids. But I do, in fact, lift, and it's very important. And even using your own body weight, right? Like never underestimate the power of a plank and just holding that for a couple minutes. Everybody knows that I'm super into HIIT or interval training. And if we have your labs, we can more accurately predict like what a great time of day might be or cadence for that. If you're low in vitamin D, I'm always going to say try to do it in the sun. I remember Maddie and I used to do sprint training at my building in Boston, and it's like her cadence and the her intervals were shorter than my intervals. Everybody's different for what works. And you might be, if you're not working with a personal trainer, you're not working with somebody who kind of really understands how to even read labs or change something up or make it optimal, then you will know too. You can start writing things down and paying attention. It's like, wow, you should feel tired after a workout, but if you feel completely depleted, that's usually an indication that you went too hard. It's okay. I have done some workouts before we all have where you can't then walk down the stairs the next day, and that's okay. But if 3 days later you're still in so much pain, you probably overdid it. As women age, we find that we don't have as much time. Some of it's motivation. We're tired. We have so many members in their 40s who, if you've got kids and you're caring for parents or anything like that, you don't have the time. So I actually just talked with my former exercise director about this too. I was like, you can break it up. The recommendation is, 30 minutes of exercise 4 to 5 times a week. So why not do 8-minute sessions, or 7.5? And anybody who is listening to this, it's like, oh, well, 8 minutes, that's not enough. Well, you try doing 8 minutes of burpees because that's like a lot. So if you go more like a higher intensity for a longer amount of time, that is still going to be good for your cardio. And the caveat here would be if you are super chronically inflamed or you just got, you have a surgery or you've got another known issue, that super high intensity is probably going to backfire on you, but then moderate intensity. And again, working with, what does that mean for you? And, honestly, ChatGPT is pretty good at this too. If you need it to be like, what is my heart rate? Here's my birth date and figuring out those percentages. Or if you're a member, you can just email me and I'll let you know. But adding mobility, stretching, mini circuits throughout the day. So always like you think about it, when I was a journalist, one of my top articles was hidden fitness. And it was so dumb. It was like literally the dumbest article, but everyone loved it. It was like park further away in the parking lot and always take the stairs, never the elevator. And if you're bored and waiting for something, or if you're in line, do squats or lift your legs, or depending on who's around and what you can get away with, like just even um, these little isometric moves. And I'll put a link into this when I send it, but there are recent studies showing that even just really thinking about what you're doing improves your ability to build muscle and lose fat. Like I am doing, just really like focusing on what you're doing. And obviously, again, I mean, I would be remiss to say labs help because they do, because they help. Now, without a muscle biopsy, you can't really tell if you're fast or slow twitch muscles. But I will say that in general, whatever you loved doing when you were a kid, so if you loved sprinting or if you loved really long distance running, that's going to indicate what the propensity for muscle fiber type is. And if you're fast twitch, you're going to like to do, you know, plyometrically fast things. However, as we age, we all have fewer fast twitch muscles and more slow twitch. So for many, many years, the belief system was that, well, then you should just honor the slow twitch and do slow twitch things. And you should do your little like soul cycle for 90 minutes at like basically no heart rate or zone two, the dreaded zone two, or lots of walks and hikes. These are really good for your mental health, but they're not going to do anything for losing weight at all or gaining muscle. So I always believed, and I actually like when I was in college way back when I argued with one of my professors and I was like, I think it should be the opposite. And guess what? It turns out I'm right. And Stacy Sims, an exercise physiologist at Stanford, has proven that this is true, that yes, interval training, which of course boosts the fast twitch muscles, which then keep us young. So there you go. And I can talk more about that later in the science. But her interview with Andrew Huberman, whatever you th may think of him, it's a great interview. All right, so I'm going to do this and let me know if you have any questions you ask, because I know I have a tendency to. Okay, so sleep. And by the way, that does probably keep me young, me and my fast twitch muscles going fast everywhere. Sleep tips. I do try to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I know that might sound crazy, especially running businesses or sometimes it's hard, but you have to prioritize it. And if for whatever reason you can't do it, then having a nap really can help. And there is some truth to that. You can make up for it. But long term, that's not really super sustainable. Never feel guilty for wanting more sleep. I mean, there's something about it. So sleeping upright, sleeping like on your back is a lot of people really don't like it. But I actually have like more drooping on one side and more wrinkles on one side because it's the side I like to sleep on. So that is actually a real thing. So gravity is real. And for one of the reasons, like I actually, I mean, I have like this whole concoction when I like, just kind of pulling towels and sheets or whatever blankets around me to make sure that I'm always, even if I'm traveling, on my back or try to be. And then an eye mask. And I have links later in this to the stuff I like. And then air filters. Some of us who live in a city and there's noise, anything that can drown it out. I can't believe I didn't put this on here, but blackout curtains, that was so important to me. It was the first thing I installed when I was on Newberry Street. It's blackout. And then turn your phone to airplane mode because if you wake up, a lot of women, especially if they're having any sort of hormonal imbalance, you waking up in the middle of the night, it's just you're up. And the trick is you've got to get back to sleep. But if you grab your phone, you're not getting back to sleep. So keep it away from you, make it inconvenient. You shouldn't be able to just roll over and grab it. It should be like difficult. And just, you've got to will yourself back to sleep when and if it happens. And then ask Maddie which supplements might be good for you. Um, Anybody who knows me knows I love my Seneca. A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. That's number 7 on here, but worry. The amount of people that have like the 11s because they're just like worried all day long. There's really, you can't, it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. So worrying about something before you know, it's going to, oh, wait, do I have another chat? Yes, Maddie, you are guilty. This Levens thing. where you're just squinting and just whatever. But my life hacks, I mean, I actually want to put, I'm gonna like change it and make that the number one, like worry equals wrinkles. Exercise, snacks. Um, Again, like anything is better than nothing. So the crawl, walk, run method. So many people, as we just like, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. And to be fair, maybe you don't because it's not just an hour. You got to get there, you got to get back. You're going to inevitably run into somebody. So it's a commitment. If you only have 15 minutes, then you only have 15 minutes. That's okay. You can do squats. I actually do, my minimum is my age. So I do 52 squats a day. And I do 52 squats a day, and I do 52 some sort of crunches things every single day. So that's my age, and that's what I do. And I used to do like 200 crunches a night. Oh, when we moved across country, that went way, way out the door. But you can do a small amount. So you just do what you can. It's better than nothing. Saying no to one thing each day. That's fun for me. I always have a list of things. I wake up and there's like so many things on this list. And then I cross off one. If you can delegate it, great. If you can move it to the next day or the next week. And it's like, does it have to be done today? Only schedule one major thing per day. Now that usually doesn't happen if you're like trying to run a company, but you try to schedule like if, for example, like when Maddie and I went to the longevity conference, that was it. Like so we blocked client calls. You know, there were no member conversations, there were no calls with like a lab that wanted to talk with us. No, that was it. And then leave room in your calendar for unexpected things. The most stressful thing that causes the lines and causes worry, because this is what this is it's like, how do you not stress? Because wrinkles are caused by stress and, these other things. Make sure that your day isn't so overloaded that if something crazy happens, you can't handle it. Action, taking action on things. Walking in the woods in the sun cures pretty much almost anything, honestly. I mean, Maddie's probably like, oh no, if you have certain that, but it's going to cure a lot. And it's certainly probably going to help with your mental health more than ruminating, while watching Netflix. So, and then stop doing things you don't like. It definitely, exactly. Well, and also anybody who's got, like, we know people, who've got some work to do, with their health. And, maybe they've got a lot of supplements and they've got a program, but it's most likely not going to hurt you if you can take some time and just walk in the woods. And one of the things I actually miss the most, and and Mom, I actually have a picture where you took of my brother and I walking down the Commonwealth Mall last Christmas, and like all the beautiful lights, and we were with my dog, and it's like it's amazing. It's like fresh air and it's beautiful, and we forget sometimes. Okay, products. I know some of you guys wanted all this. What do I do? Because I'll do some things. All right, I don't do Botox. I don't do fillers. I'm not going to go into all the reasons why, but there is like a woo-woo reason, which is that I do actually believe that a filler or Botox will block my third eye. I know that's ridiculous, but it's not very scientific, but I do believe that it's going to block my intuition. But also, it's a toxin. It's called Botox. Like it is actually a toxin. And the other reason is because I had a good friend who ran a skincare, um, amazing, like probably the top skincare in San Francisco for years. And she would see people, she would call them sponge face. They had had so much stuff into them that after a certain point, their face was just spongy. Oh, that's just, and then you have no choice but to get like a facelift. I mean, it's this terrible thing that once you get into it, you can't get over it. Frownies work. They really do. You can buy them off Amazon. I've got links or wherever you want to buy them, but it's like tape. And they really actually work. And the amount of texts I have from people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I tried it and I no longer have my 11s." And it's like 2 days later. So what I do, I mean, it's actually funny. Inevitably, I'll put on a bunch of, so I do them here, and then I usually put like 4 or 5 up here, and then on my, And I haven't actually done them in a week, and you can tell. But every time I do them, I'll put everything on my face, and then inevitably my dog needs to go out. So I used to have to walk through a lobby like that. But now I don't have them in San Francisco, but there's cameras. I'm sure people see me. Okay, so product I like Biossance is a really I like it a lot. I like pretty much all their moisturizers. None of this stuff is super cheap, but Biossance is cheaper and they had a Black Friday sale. Skin Better. I love Meredith Lean in on Newbury Street. Well, no, she's on Dartmouth in the Back Bay and she sells it and it's great. You can also get it online. And then MDR, which is a German brand. These do not have parabens, no toxins. They're pretty clean. That some of the pharmaceutical grade stuff is it's not going to be as clean as like super organic Biossance. I know there's like One Skin and a couple of things that people I don't I'm not like as super into it. I want like clean, clean, clean. I mean, it is pretty clean, but these are my preferred things. And then LED light twice a week. I have, my favorite, and then I probably need to buy another one at some point. And then, of course, if you're getting facials, they probably have a stronger LED light. And I know Maddie used to have her LED light with acupuncture too, and it really works. It can work on your whole body. I think we both can say that the Pacifica face masks are our friends. You can buy them at Whole Foods. Or Maddie has the most amazing grocery store, Good Earth. Um, Microneedling. So it's like stamp rolling. You can buy them. You can have the Derma pen that Maddie uses. You can go to a professional, and it's little micro needles. So the way that I like to think of this is it's like working out. You're micro tearing, in order to build muscle. So you're micro tearing your skin but really micro tears so that it rebuilds with it, like immediately floods it with collagen, and that's the plumpness. So as we get older, the reason that people start looking, older and then like even gravity is going to take its toll is you also have less collagen. So building up that collagen versus just, again, root cause versus Band-Aid. Botox is a Band-Aid. It's going to get rid of your wrinkle. It's not going to solve the root problem of why you're getting the wrinkles because you're aging and you got all this other stuff going on. And, sleeping on your back again, wearing the eye mask. And so I'll tell you, and then no harsh exfoliation. So people who are doing the dermaplaning, the Morpheus, this is not very, like in TCM, everything's a balance. These things are like aggressive. And if you have thin skin, which I do, the dermaplaning is actually going to cause more harm than good. So this is like super, or chemical peels, stuff like that. I don't believe in it. So what I do, and I haven't done it since we've been out here, but again, Meredith Lane, Biologique Research, and then Alexis Skin Drip on Newbury Street, where Maddie used to go just look for like that. And then there's a Biologique Research actually underneath my building near Stephanie's on Newbury Street if you're in Boston. And if you're in San Francisco, I don't know anymore, but I have recommendations for LA people and Southern California. But what you want to look for is people who are, even if they might have Botox or some sort of nurse on staff, but that they have a wing or something that is not. And I had a whole section on food, but because sugar is very aging. But I just think I think a lot of these are going to be sort of root things, and obviously drinking as much water as possible, avoiding alcohol, avoiding sugar if you can, and avoiding processed foods. But that's just kind of I'm assuming that's a basic, but I can always add that in. But Shen, I really love Shen. It is like it's joy, the spirit of the mind. And when I see like older people who have just like that light in their eyes, they look younger and they are more vibrant and they have more life to them, even if they have wrinkles. I had this conversation the other day about Juliette Binoche. She's like a French actress, and she's definitely got wrinkles. And I think she's probably 58. She for sure has wrinkles, but she is so vibrant and full of life that nobody notices. And so it's something for us to think about is aging is viewed as refinement. And today on my LinkedIn, I wrote, aging is really cool because what's the alternative? The alternative is you're dead, you're dying. Like aging is great. It means you're alive. So embracing your Shen, I mean, I have actually never had anybody say anything like, oh, well, you look too old or like 50 is awful. I have not had that problem because what people are noticing more, I think, is that I'm vibrant, sometimes overly vibrant. But the three key takeaways for this are is balance, right? So back to that, like aging is a state of mind, balancing, being okay with it. Don't do anything extreme, sleeping as much as possible, reducing your stress, and then anything's better than nothing for anything. And then products I like. And so if you're not a member, you can become a member. And we have several pages that specifically to exercise, and we can do more. And then book an exercise evaluation with me personally if you want to, if you have labs, or if you don't have labs, or if you just want to review your current plan. And then I am planning to do like a 3-week program starting in January. And I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm going to figure it out. Something which would keep people accountable for something. And then this is just some of the stuff like that I like, makeup or SPF or the late mask or my drowsy sleep mask. And then of course, frownies are really awesome. And then an air filter.